How's it going, everyone? My name is Spencer, aka Agent Mulder, and welcome to the War Room. Today we're going to continue our journey through Doom Eternal. Some of the new tips and tricks I'll be going over with you today are going to be about the praetor tokens and how best to use them, new weapon upgrades to focus on such as the rocket launcher's lock-on burst, and of course the brand new ballista upgrade destroyer blade, 3 key runes you should get to survive throughout the rest of the campaign, along with what kind of upgrade you should use on your suit. All that and more directly ahead in this video. But bear in mind, some of the things I'll be going over will have some spoilers in them, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Let's talk about the praetor tokens. Now these tokens can be found all across Doom's open maps. You will sometimes find these tokens hidden behind barriers, sometimes having to go through some jumping puzzles, but overall these tokens are actually pretty easy to find. I do recommend that you don't waste any of your Sentinel batteries on unlocking some of these back at your home base. I found myself finding between 4 to upwards of 6 of these tokens on one given mission. Much how I've talked about in my first video of how you can find secrets, the same goes for how you can find these tokens. Keep your eyes open for these ghosts standing in different positions all across the map. They're fairly easy to spot, and if you use your creativity, you're going to find them pretty quickly. Now let's talk about some of the things I've upgraded my suit with these tokens. These tokens can help upgrade your suit in a variety of different ways. Things like, say, surviving hazardous areas in the environment, increasing the damage output and long-lasting time of your ice bomb, and just a variety of other things. The area I've focused in most in is the ice bomb. The areas that I've upgraded are the ice drops, permafrost, and faster ice cooldown. All this combined allows my ice bomb to last longer when enemies are frozen, allows them to drop more useful loot such as armor and health when I destroy them. Also too is that the ice bomb now does a little extra damage. This is very important, especially later on in the game when you're taking on multiple enemies during boss battles, but more importantly when you're trying to take on the Slayer Gate challenges or any other challenge you'll find in the game. I do highly recommend that you focus on upgrading the ice bomb as soon as you can. Now let's talk about some new weapon upgrades. Now along your journey you're going to find the rocket launcher. Now the rocket launcher is a very powerful and useful weapon, especially during crowd control or during heavy enemy encounters. Now if there's one upgrade that I recommend that you go after first, it's the lock-on burst. The lock-on burst is fantastic when taking on heavily armored opponents. First off, the rocket will automatically lock on to whatever target you select, and when you fire the rockets, it will shoot out 3 multiple rockets that will home in on whatever target you locked on. This is great when you're, say, jumping from different platforms or trying to make a quick getaway when you're surrounded by too many enemies. Focus on using your mod upgrades to help increase the ammo count and the overall splash damage that the lock-on burst can do. Once the lock-on burst is fully upgraded, it will melt opponents right in front of your eyes. Now let's talk about the ballista. The ballista is my new favorite weapon in this game, and you're gonna find out why. The ballista shoots an explosive arrow directly at whatever opponent's body part that you aim at. This is great for taking out opponents' guns, but also chipping away at their armor. But the one upgrade that's great for crowd control is the destroyer blade. When holding down the left trigger, the ballista will slowly start to charge up its energy. Now keep in mind you will be vulnerable while the ballista is charging. Once the ballista is fully charged, press the fire button and you're going to see a huge wave of energy shoot out in front of you. It will slice and dice anything in its path. Not only will you see enemies cut in half literally right in front of you, but this is excellent for crowd control and taking out multiple enemies, especially in the Slayer Gate challenges or any type of dangerous situation. Focus on upgrading the mods that lessen the time it takes to charge up the weapon and increase its damage. Both these weapons you'll find along your campaign, so don't worry if you feel like you haven't found them yet. With the lock-on burst for the rocket launcher and the destroyer blade for the ballista, you'll be melting both bosses and challenges ahead of you in no time. Now let's talk about 3 key runes that I recommend that you get. Now I mentioned before in my last video how important the Equipment Fiend rune is, but now let's talk about the Blood Fuel and Saving Throw. The Saving Throw rune is essentially important when keeping alive in certain moments. How this rune works is that once your character is near death, the game will automatically slow down in this Matrix style motion, which will then allow you to attack your opponents quickly while they're slowly moving across in time. This will allow you to do quick kills on enemies to gather some health and ammunition. I found this rune saving my butt not only during certain boss battles, but also during some of the other challenges. Again, it's all up to you, but I definitely recommend getting the Saving Throw as soon as you can. Now the third rune I found that goes great both with Equipment Fiend and Saving Throw is Blood Fuel. Throughout the game, you're going to be doing a bunch of cool executions on all sorts of demons. Why not get upgraded and boosted of extra power and speed for it? Blood Fuel will increase your character's speed and damage output by a bit every single time you perform an execution on an opponent. I found myself chaining multiple executions at once to build up my character's speed speed and power during certain difficult moments in the game. Not only does this make you feel like you're Sonic the Hedgehog now with a shotgun, but now you're able to punch enemies and attack them or get away from difficult situations in the blink of an eye. Blood Fuel doesn't last long, but it lasts long enough to where I highly recommend that you should get this rune when you can. These 3 runes I'm currently running right now has made the game not only a lot more fun for me, but also able to help keep me alive during certain difficult moments and challenges, including boss battles. Now for some quick advice when you take on one of the interesting bosses in this game called the Doom Hunters. Along the way, when you're trying to encounter the second to last Hell Priest, he will unleash one of his most destructive creations upon you, which is called the Doom Hunter. Not only do these Doom Hunters have overwhelming firepower, but they come equipped with shields. Now the same way you destroy those riot shields on the demons is the same way you'll destroy the Doom Hunter's shields, using your plasma rifle. It'll take quite a bit of ammunition to bring down the shields of these Doom Hunters, and they'll be doing heavy damage to you along the way. This is why I recommend that once you have Blood Fuel activated, perform a few quick executions on some enemies to increase your character's damage and speed to where you can keep your distance from a Doom Hunter while still blasting away at their shield. Once the Doom Hunter's shield is down, immediately switch to your rocket launcher and put on the Lock-On Burst. The Lock-On Burst multi-rockets will do an incredible amount of damage on these Doom Hunters very quickly. I've discovered that after 3 waves of the Lock-On Burst rocket launchers on Doom Hunters whose shields are down, it will break away their armor and allow them to become vulnerable to where they are no longer able to activate their shields. But now granted, because he no longer has a shield generator, he's more vulnerable to attacks. I still recommend using the Lock-On Burst to finish off Doom Hunters in any stage of the fight. Now during this quick encounter of these boss battles, you're going to be fighting up to 3 of these Doom Hunters. The first one will be inside the Citadel, and then the last 2 you'll be fighting outside. Now you will be encountering some medium-sized enemies while you're fighting these other bosses. As I said before in my previous video, saving zombies or weaker enemies as quick pickups for both ammunition and health is essential. I also found that through my own experience, saving throws saved my bacon quite a few times. Once you reach the end of the boss battle when you're taking on 2 Doom Hunters at once, try to break them apart. It doesn't take much to lure one Doom Hunter away while the other one's trying to navigate its way across the field to get to you. You will find throughout this fight that there are plenty of rocket ammunition and weaker enemies scattered all over the place if you know where to look. Once again, keep the zombies alive so you can use them as ammunition drops, and you'll be able to conquer these 3 Doom Hunters in no time. And that's all the time I have today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to like, share, and subscribe for a lot more. We'll be covering a few more things in Doom Eternal as the days goes on. We're also doing new videos on the latest games coming out later on this year. So be sure to stay tuned for the next group of videos to drop very soon. Until then, thank you so much for watching.
Gifts to aid him in his noble conquest, and perhaps in return for my